And I'm ready when you are. I'm on your view. 2 minutes into the game.
Yep, 2 minutes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, play.
Excellent.
All right, Team Stoic here. Back for part 4 of our Intimate ZVX with Stoic. We got David Stoic Regret on the line.
Yep. You should probably go like part 4, game 1.
Part
and then
4,
you can do game 2, game 3.
game 1 against FusioNSlush,
Yep.
a Grandmaster Protoss on the North American server. So, David, I noticed you're not opening with gas. Is this your standard now?
Yeah, especially on this map.
Yeah, I was just
Protosses don't open anything but cannon expand on this map, usually.
It would be dumb otherwise because it's so big.
It's funny I just said that because I just played a toss who opened 3-gate on this map. Weird.
So are you telling all the Protosses out there they shouldn't be opening 3-gate on this map? They should be cannon expanding?
Shouldn't be opening 3-gate on any map,
Yeah, that's true.
in my opinion. But alright, so I'm just opening what I usually open here. 14 pool, 15 hatch. If I can't get it, then I'll build the 4 Zerglings and the Queen, and then put the hatch down once I get rid of the probe, but he kind of let me.
And the Overlord. Wow,
Yeah. So the first thing here is to, I usually leave 1 Zergling here. That probe usually does some kind of a roundabout. On smaller maps, you can actually plan where you think the probe's going to be, so I can send my Zerglings around. On a map this big, it's rather hard, especially with just 4 Zerglings. I mean, he just has to pick a spot he thinks you won't look, and if you don't look, then you'll never find it, so you can always run back, because I don't have speed. So I usually just leave it there, so that if it tries to double back on itself, then I can catch it. So I've scouted him with my Zerglings. I know that he's cannon expanding, so I'm going to take my 3rd. About as fast as I can, so...
So at one point, you're going to take your 3rd. Do you try to take down those rocks, or you take it across the map?
I always take it across the map. I like to be as greedy as I can. I don't like wasting my larva on the Zerglings to kill it.
And if you go Stargate, you just try to get a spore up with a Queen over there? You should be fine.
It's all about knowing what's coming, that's all. It's just more difficult and a little bit more risky, especially if he does some big attack. It takes a longer amount of time for slow roaches to walk over to the expansion you're trying to defend. But if you can plan it's coming, usually it's okay. Right, so at this point I'm just kind of figuring out how many zealots he's going to be building, so I know if I have to make additional Zerglings or not. Because I haven't even taken my gases, so roaches are out of the question. So I see at the front here, I don't know how many zealots he has, he's putting them in his base, but I see that he's upgrading +1 on his forge, so I can assume some kind of a gateway army. Maybe a Stargate, but even if that, it's going to follow up with a gateway army. And he hasn't sent a zealot out, so I don't have to produce any more Zerglings. There's no threat at this point. And I see this probe, and I know that he just scattered, so... there is a threat of a proxy pylon, but the good part is the probe came from the north side, so I don't have to worry about him scouting the bottom expansion that I took, and I don't have to really worry about the probe being there building proxy pylons. So, just kind of looking at his front, seeing if he's going to show me a bunch of units. Still hasn't, so I'm going to build 12 Zerglings here, because I've built so many drones. At this point, it would be way too greedy not to have some kind of units, just in case that proxy pylon warps into something anytime soon. So I'm playing pretty blind right now, trying to drone as much as I can. I just took my gases at about 48, 49, so I can start getting my roach warren. And with my first 100 gas, I should be getting speed, because there's no threat so far, so you want to upgrade as much as you can. Always try to transfer your drones evenly. Whenever you see you have too much saturation in one base, just pull over 1 or 2, even it out a little bit. You don't want to overboard saturate the 3rd in these positions, because you have to take into account the distance in which the drones have to travel. They're quite far. So at this point I'm still blind, so all I'm doing is standard macro stuff. I have enough drones to support 4 hatches, so I'm building my macro hatch here. Building 4 queens, so I have 1 queen per hatch. And I haven't seen anything at this point, and it's 8 minutes, so these are kind of reactionary spores that I'm building. I'm building 1 spore crawler at each base, because it's just strange that he hasn't come out yet.
So
if it's going to be...
this will protect you against DTs and Stargate, I guess.
Yes, exactly. And I'm trying to do it as minimally as I can because I don't actually know what's coming. Like, if it's a double Stargate or something weird like that, I would need more than one. Even if it's DT, then I would just need one. So I'm kind of unsure at this point. I'm still blind. We know from the production tab that he's building an Immortal, but I don't see it yet. So basically, these units that I'm building are just to have units because overdroning at this point, if he attacks me with something unexpected, I will just die. But I have the entire map scouted with the Zalnalga Caverns, so it would be very difficult for him to sneak something out at this point in the game. So, just continuing to drone whenever I can. So now that I have speed, I'm able to start scouting. So I do my extremely late tech here, and I send out my Zerglings to see if he's taking a third. I have an Overlord at the abnormal third location
So
in case he takes that one too.
While you're checking for a sir, let's do a time check.
10:08.
Okay, just a couple seconds, that's not a big deal.
Okay. So now I know that he took down the rocks super early. That third was placed before the 10-minute mark. That's super, super fast. So what you can do at this point, if you were already teched, like if I was researching roach speed at this point, is you can mass a lot of roaches, maybe get burrow and burrow movement, and just kind of attack at 2 locations at once to try to do some damage. But unfortunately, with this build that I'm doing, I attack so late. So you have to realize that the late tech means if I build nothing but units at this point, like if I build nothing but roaches and lings at this point, by the time I have my roach speed, by the time I have tier 2 upgrades and I attack him, that third base of his is already going to kick into effect, and he's going to have enough units to defend. So that would be a really bad investment. So instead of that, I just plan to go into Mutalisks this game, trying to stretch him as much as I can because it's difficult to defend 3 bases in these locations, especially with a ground army, because he has to walk from the third base to the second base to the first base, back and forth. So I'm just basically going to wait for my Spire at this point, and then use that Spire to do as much damage as I can and expand all over the place.
So
and
banks of minerals. What's the Baneling Nest for here?
Baneling Nest is just placed because when you go into Mutalisks, you generally stop building roaches, so my mineral deposit usually goes into lings. So Baneling Nest is just kind of a safety. I mean, lings are not super strong against Stalker Sentry when they're in large numbers, but if you have Banelings, good Baneling hits can turn fights around. So just in case, usually don't actually plan on building Banelings, not in this matchup.
Because they're not that cost efficient, but they can save you in a pinch.
So yeah, here I'm basically just trying to poke as much as I can. I mean, if his army wasn't there, if he slips once or looks away once, I could have ran those lings into his base. Like small things like that can basically win you the game, but unfortunately for me, he has his army in the right spot, and he has cannons at his third, so I have to just wait for these mutas. Yeah, so here I'm just building up my muta count. And at this point in the game, it's really just all about making your mutas as cost efficient as possible, attacking in places that he's letting you attack. So when I say that, I mean, his army cannot be everywhere at once. There will always be some kind of a hole, so you just have to find that hole and do a little bit of damage. Obviously, the better he's playing, the less damage I'm going to be able to do, but you just have to find those holes. So here I see 2 cannons. I do have enough mutas to take those out. So I'm taking out the cannons in both locations. And this isn't real damage yet, but it's going to lead up to damage. I mean, now he doesn't have cannons that blow through these locations, so if he has to build them up, I didn't really lose anything for that. So if you think about it, if he spends resources to rebuild them, I kind of did damage resourcefully because he has to rebuild those 600 minerals worth of cannons or whatever. So you just try to do little by little here while expanding. Important to take my gases, because as you can see, mineral deposit is so much easier to get than gas when you're going muta build. So, and as you can see, I'm trying to expand as many places as I can, and I'm trying to stretch my expansions as far as I can.
Is that in case it turns into a base race?
Yeah, exactly. So the further he has to go, so you see I take the corner of the maps, the further he has to go, the more susceptible he is to base race scenarios, because I can just attack into his base and he has such a far distance to go to actually defend, so he has to decide where he wants to go. So as you can see here, I know this seems like nothing. Why am I not going for the probes in this? But like I said, you can look at it as damage economically, because if he rebuilds, you see how many cannons he rebuilt there? He actually rebuilt like 4 more cannons than what he had before. So resources pumped into that is good for me. So I'm just pretty much doing as much damage as I can. I already have +2 upgrade on my melee attack for my lings, so I'm happy with that. I'm trying to get my flyers attack now.
What's the correct response for him here? Is he supposed to get Psystorm?
He's supposed to get Psystorm. I think he already has Templars. Probably, yeah, he's turning them into Archons right now. Basically, he wants a huge death ball where he can just kind of move out. And there are different ways to deal with it. You can have so many cannons, or you can... Okay, so now he's going to move out. He has a really strong army here. There's no way I can fight this.
Mineral field depleted.
You can't fight that?
No. Archons are really good against this competition. So all I'm trying to do here is, even though I lost a huge portion of my army, at least I was able to kind of throw him off, like he's finally trying to do something, because he doesn't want to just sit there anymore. He knows that time is kind of running out because I have a lot of expansions and he's stuck on 3. See how he's trying to take a 4th one there, but he's not able to. So see, I can start seeing him move out. So this is good for me. This is what I wanted to happen, especially on a big map like this. So as you're going to see, Tal'darim Altar is extremely good for this style of play, mutas into base race, because it's going to be very difficult for him to defend his base when my entire army can get there a lot quicker than his army can kill mine. So I'm just going to see, yeah, he's going to that expansion, so I'm going to use that opportunity to attack him. And then basically this is just going to be a base race. And I already have 2 bases as far as they can possibly be from each other, so it's really good for me.
So you just want to save as many drones as you can to make an army for as long as you can.
Yeah. So I'm just going over here, and I have so many mutas and lings here, it would be impossible for him to have enough stalkers to fight me off here. Especially because most of his army is elsewhere. So. And as you can see, me killing a bunch of cannons early really does make a difference here. I mean, if I left all of those to save, you know, the hit points on my mutas, I'm pretty sure I killed about 15 of them. So 15 additional cannons here might have, you know, lost me in the game. So even at his 3rd, you see how he had to rebuild them, but even when he rebuilt them, he got lazy and rebuilt less. See how many cannons he's actually building here. So would have been a huge difference.
You're still on 2 mining bases, pretty much.
Yep. Well, at this point, it doesn't matter about my mining. I'm just trying to build as many more mutas as I possibly can, because at this point, I will never fight him anyways. His army is too large. I would never take that risk. There's really no point.
Mineral field depleted.
Yep. So at this point, it's really not much you can do. I've killed all of his production, and I have such a huge muta count that there's no way he can separate his stalker army, because if he did, I would be able to just kill half of the stalker army, like he's doing here. You're about to see how he split his army up. It's not a terrible mistake. There's absolutely nothing he can do anyways. But as you can see, this is why base race is so powerful on this map. He either needs to have his whole army in one person, or in one group, or split his army like this, which is definitely never going to work. Not on a map like this, not when I have this many mutas. And that's good.
He was mad at you.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
So he just doesn't... He thinks base race isn't all in, but... Alright. Good game. I'll end this one. We'll start the next cast.
Yep. Wait, you're gonna end it as in you're gonna stop the video and start it again?
Yep. Yep.
Ah, okay.